You're listening to the LawBizNews Podcast with Glenn Duker. At LawBizNews, we discuss legal and business issues and we explore how they relate to people in the real world. I'm your host, Glenn Duker, and I'm a lawyer at PCL Lawyers in Melbourne, Australia. Today's topic is entitled, What do you do when Vic Roads wants your backyard? Compulsory acquisition of land usually occurs when a government department permanently requires the land of a private citizen for a public purpose. In practice, this usually is when Vic Roads requires all or part of someone's land to build or expand a road network. Compulsory acquisition of land can affect both residential landowners and commercial landowners alike. It can be a massive shock to the system to learn that Vic Roads needs your property. Let's talk about residential landowners first of all. If Vic Roads needs all of your land, it will be required to compensate you for the fair market value of your property. It is the Valuer General that will assess the value of your land or the part of your land that is being acquired on behalf of the acquiring authority, which in this case would be Vic Roads. The good news is that you may be entitled to considerably more compensation than what you are initially offered. Engaging an expert valuer privately can mean that the valuation process is more expansively explored and different matters can be brought to light which may be relevant to your particular case, which may not have been necessarily taken into account previously. This is not because the Valuer General hasn't done a good job, not at all. But you do have a right as a private citizen to prosecute your own individual rights by appointing your own experts to assist. So initially you appoint lawyers, and your lawyers will recommend valuers to you, and the process goes from there. And still further, the fact that your landscape has been forever changed may have other impacts for which you're entitled to compensation. For instance, you may need to move sheds, you may need to move gazebos, you may need to move other types of buildings which are impacted by this road expansion process. Remember that this compensation is all on top of the land value itself. So there is potentially more than one type of compensation that you may seek. And it is up to you as the landowner to go after your legal rights and to make sure that you're being properly compensated. Once again, this is best done with the help of professionals because this is a very complex area of law. Now let's turn our mind to commercial property owners. Commercial property owners have further considerations. Not merely is there the value of your land and building at stake, your loss may extend to the loss of income following the departure of your tenant. If you own the business in the premises, you will also be entitled to all the reasonable costs associated with relocating your business as a general rule. These costs can be substantial, but are not always carefully taken into account by a claimant, which in this case may be you. So once again, compulsory acquisition of land is not just about being compensated for the land and the building on the land. There can be many further heads of claim which can be explored and will be explored by your legal representatives. Let's now talk about legal costs and the costs of other experts that may be required to assist with your claim. As an affected party, you're entitled to appoint the lawyers of your choice. Expert legal advice is critical to maximising the amount of compensation that you ultimately receive, as we've said. After all, you only want what is fair. Your lawyers will know the right valuers and other expert consultants who can assist in establishing the full legitimacy of your claim. Notably, these costs are typically fully recoverable. That is, you will be reimbursed by the acquiring authority in due course. So if you really can't afford to appoint these experts or can't afford to appoint lawyers, don't worry, because you will be ultimately reimbursed. An interim advance from the acquiring authority will also usually be available to you. This will assist you in funding your case and otherwise give you some financial relief while your case is being processed. Now, once your case has been presented to the acquiring authority, which in this case is Vic Roads, what happens if the parties can't agree on the amount of compensation that's payable? Well, there's good news there. Legislation allows you to take the matter to VCAT for a determination if no agreement can be reached. Your legal and other costs will continue to be covered provided you have reasonable grounds for incurring these costs. All in all, the compulsory acquisition system, if I can call it that, will compensate a party whose land has been compulsorily acquired. It is just this is a complex area of law, and most people just don't know how to maximise their compensation. Always seek legal advice in relation to your individual circumstances and as early in the process as possible. This way, it'll give you peace of mind and you know that your interests will be best protected and that your compensation amount will presumably be maximised. Thank you for listening. My name is Glenn Duker. Bye for now.